All right, y'all. UFC 310 is right around the corner. It's coming up this weekend, and I'm back and ready to give you guys my prediction and breakdown for every single fight on this incredible card. It's actually a pretty stacked card. The prelims are really stacked, but the main card kind of falls off a little bit. It's kind of weird. You know, some of these prelim fights could honestly replace some of the main card fights, but regardless, it's a pretty good card all in all. But we're going to start with the very first fight on this card, which is Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Lukasz Brzeski. Now, Lukasz Brzeski did defeat the great Walter Walker, I believe. Defeated the great Walter Walker. Fraud checked him in his debut. I want to say that's like his only win recently. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure he just lost to... Who did Lukasz Brzeski just lose to? He just fought someone, and he lost. That was after he beat Walter Walker. I'm about to find out. Mick Parkin, of course! Get micked, buddy! He got micked by Mick Parkin. How could I forget? He got KO'd in round 1. So he beat Walter Walker. Other than that, a loss to Waldo Cortez Acosta by TKO. I mean, that right there should tell you. Waldo Cortez Acosta doesn't hit the hardest. KO in round 1. Mick Parkin's another guy that doesn't really hit that hard. Round 1 KO. Decision by Carl Williams. Yep, get Carl Williams, buddy. He probably got laid on that fight. I probably didn't watch it. I'm just going to be honest. Who cares? Martin Budai, a split decision. Classic. No contest to Dylan Potter on the Contender Series. Like, yeah, Lukasz Brzeski. He looked decent enough against Walter Walker, although not really. It was more just Walter Walker kind of gassed out and didn't really implement his grappling in the later rounds, I want to say. I think he got like an easy takedown in round 1. Just blasted like a super quick double leg on Lukasz Brzeski and got him down. And then after that, he just didn't shoot anymore. I think is how that fight went, and Lukasz Brzeski kind of just outpointed him on the feet. Kennedy Nzechukwu, who's coming up from light heavyweight. He's actually like athletic and powerful and is like good at fighting, so he's probably going to beat Lukasz Brzeski, who doesn't have an ounce of talent in him, with all due respect. Probably shouldn't be in the UFC. I'm going to go Kennedy Nzechukwu probably by round 1 KO over Lukasz Brzeski. I think that's a pretty easy one to call. Speaking of easy ones to call, Clay Guida, versus Chase Hooper. I'm going to go with Chase Hooper. I've been on the Chase Hooper hype train. I don't know about y'all, but I've been on here way before you, okay? Who did you pick him to beat Vyacheslav Borshev? You probably didn't, but guess what? I did. I'm just kidding. You probably did. I mean, it wasn't that. He was an underdog, but like the odds weren't that ridiculous, so you know, it's whatever. But a lot of people were counting him out. They said he can't strike. But you look at his move up to light. When he moved up to lightweight, he has looked like a completely different fighter than he looked at featherweight. That was obvious against Jordan Levitt. Incredible performance there. Like he's just a night and day different fighter at lightweight. I think the featherweight weight cut was probably too much. He's also just young and improving, so there's that too. Like he was 6'1" at featherweight, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, he's also young. He's also just naturally getting better along with less of a weight cut. Chase Hooper is evolving. Clay Guida's like fucking 40 years old at this point. Yeah, I'm going to pick Chase Hooper. Probably by submission over Clay Guida. I'm going to say round 1 sub for Chase Hooper. I'm still on the Chase Hooper hype train. I think he's got a lot of potential. Still very young. Looked really, really dominant against a fairly good kickboxer in Vyacheslav Borshev. Dominated Jordan Levitt with in a fight that had a lot of fun grappling exchanges. Choked him out in round 1 under 3 minutes. Yeah, you got to go Chase Hooper. I think that one's another easy one to call. Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. Now, this fight is one of the fights I'm not really looking forward to because I don't really care. Because Michael Chiesa is another guy that's like 40 at this point. Max Griffin's one of the more boring fighters you can watch in the UFC. Just... he doesn't really do much. He just kind of outpoints you. He's a favorite over Michael Chiesa. I think that's probably the right call. I mean, I was leaning Max Griffin anyway. Probably through boring, outstriking decision. If I had to guess, I'm going to say Max Griffin Unanimous decision, 30-27, just staying on the outside, outpointing Michael Chiesa, stuffing the takedowns, and getting out of there with a 30-27 win in a pretty boring fight. Cody Durden versus Josh Van. Now, I have never picked against Josh Van. He did get KO'd by Charles Johnson. That was a brutal watch. I love Josh Van. I think most people do. He's one of the more entertaining fighters to watch in the UFC. Cody Durden is good, though. You know, he is a good fighter. And Josh Van does suffer from short king syndrome. You know, he's very short to the point where it's a massive disadvantage. Like, he's a guy that naturally belongs at flyweight. And there's people like in his last fight, Edgar Chairez just towered over him. Like, he's always got that disadvantage of just being too short. He'll never have a reach advantage on anyone in his entire career. He's got a little bit of a chin problem. He's been knocked down in maybe not all of his fights, but he's been knocked down in a lot of his fights. I think Kevin Borjas dropped him. Charles Johnson obviously KO'd him. Edgar Chairez has dropped him, I think. If he didn't drop him, he definitely hurt him bad. With that spinning back fist, I think. But he's got a bit of a chin issue. Cody Durden, though, he doesn't really hit that hard. So I don't think I'm worried about a KO for Josh Van. I think we're just going to see a Josh Van takedown defense masterclass where he stuffs the takedowns of Cody Durden, sprawls him, gets up, and just tees off on Cody Durden. He always kind of starts slow. I could see Cody Durden winning round 1, and then Josh Van picking it up in the later rounds and winning through his combinations, stringing together 4, 5, 6-piece combinations to the body, head, body. He is just a far better boxer than Cody Durden. I think he's got this one in the bag. I'm going to go Josh Van by unanimous decision, 29-28, dropping the first round and then winning the next 2 off of volume. Moving up, Chris Weidman versus Eryk Anders is closing out the early prelims. I am going to go with Eryk Anders over Chris Weidman, mainly because they're both shit, by the way. I'll just say that. They're both absolute garbage. Chris Weidman's like 40. Again, another unk. Eryk Anders is just not good. He went to war with the great Jamie Pickett, so that should tell you all you need to know. But Eryk Anders, he's a guy that's not going to double eye poke KO you. You know, I'll never pick Chris Weidman again. The way he handled that win, just sore winner syndrome. Like, you can't even admit that you eye poked him. Bruno Silva twice, like double eye poke TKO. Like, are you serious? He's like, oh well, he shouldn't have tried to milk the injury, and maybe he would have won. Dude, you poked him in both of his eyes, bro. Like, what? He's not milking it. He can't see. You shoved both of your hands into each of his eyes. Like, he's not milking it. I hope he breaks his leg again in this fight, to be completely honest. I'm going to go Eryk Anders just out of spite for Chris Weidman. So there's that. Randy Brown versus Bryan battle. This is a fight I'm really looking forward to. Randy Brown is very, very talented. He is a very talented, long, rangy striker. And Bryan Battle is another guy that's pretty similar. He's probably got more... does he have more power than Randy Brown? I don't know. Randy Brown put down Muslim Salikov, who is old, another unk. We've got a lot of unks being mentioned in the video. But he did put him down with one shot. It was a clean, straight right hand, I want to say. Like, it barely glanced his chin and put him out. So, Bryan Battle's a guy, he didn't really put away... I mean, he put away Kevin Jousset, but he didn't, like, you know, flatline KO him. I don't even think he dropped him. As a standing TKO. And then he KO'd the dude who, like, rushed in like 12 seconds. Gabe Green? Is that his name? Absolute schmuck. Rushed in and got KO'd in like 12 seconds. I don't know. They both have a similar style of striking. I almost want to pick Randy Brown because I think he's very good. I really do think Randy Brown's very talented. But Bryan Battle, he's got so much momentum. And it's hard to pick against him after that fight against Kevin Jousset. But man, Randy Brown can snipe him. Oh, this is tough. I think I'm going to go Randy Brown, though. I think I'm going to go the underdog. I think I'm going to go Randy Brown. I like Bryan Battle. I wouldn't be upset if he won. I like both of these guys. I think they're both entertaining. But I think I'm going to give the edge to Randy Brown. I could just see him frustrating Bryan Battle, countering him. Maybe Bryan Battle rushes in, tries to rush in and like get into range. Randy Brown slips out of range and hits him with a counter. Stuff like that. Makes him miss and hits him with a clean shot on the counter. Frustrates Bryan Battle throughout the fight. Maybe one of them puts him away. This is really tough to call. I'm surprised Bryan Battle's like that big of a favorite. I really am. Minus 192 is kind of crazy. I figured this would be closer to a pick'em. Yeah, I like Randy Brown in this one. I like Randy Brown. A lot of people call him Randy Chinny Boy Brown, but he hasn't really shown that much of a chin problem in his last few fights. Maybe Bryan Battle is the guy to KO him. I could see it, but I think I'm going to go Randy Brown. I like Randy Brown in this one. I'm going to go Randy Brown decision. Randy Brown decision, maybe late round TKO, but I think Randy Brown's going to be my pick. Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. Undefeated Movsar Evloev. Aljamain Sterling is a former champion, and this fight is on the prelims. Under this fight. We'll get to this in a second. Don't worry. Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. This is a fight I've been really looking forward to because I think this is going to be a good fight. A lot of people are quick to call Movsar Evloev boring because he's got nothing but decisions in the UFC, which, you know, it's fair enough. Maybe he doesn't have the most entertaining fights, and I thought he lost to Arnold Allen. Aljamain Sterling, I think this is going to be his toughest fight. That's Movsar Evloev. I mean, this is going to be Movsar Evloev's toughest fight. I think this is a tougher fight than Arnold Allen. I really do. Although I think Arnold Allen is very good. I think it's just more so speaking on the... It's more so praising Aljamain Sterling than it is diminishing Arnold Allen. I think Aljo's really good, man. I think a lot of people underrate him. I think he's got some of the best grappling in the sport. Maybe he's not the most exciting, sure. You can argue that. I wouldn't disagree. He doesn't have the most entertaining fights. But he knows how to ragdoll you. He knows how to control you. Look what he did to Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar had no success. He landed like 5 strikes in the entire 15-minute fight at UFC 300. He knows how to stifle your offense. He knows how to get you down. He knows how to get your back. And once he gets your back, you don't get out. So this is an interesting fight. And I think I'm actually going to go with Aljamain Sterling over Movsar Evloev. I'm not confident in it, but I really do believe in Aljamain Sterling. I think he's being really counted out, especially with these odds. I think it's kind of insane. Not only is Aljamain Sterling a really talented grappler, but he's huge. You know, he is huge. I don't know how he made bantamweight because he is massive. He is built, like he is dense. He is thick. No diddy. He's strong. Like, he is a very strong, powerful individual. You know, like, I don't think wrestling is going to be a path for Movsar Evloev. I think if he wins this fight, it's going to be through his striking. But Aljamain Sterling doesn't have awful striking like people want to make it out to be. They want to make it out like Aljamain Sterling goes out there and strikes like Ben Askren, you know? No, it's not that at all. He doesn't have the most pop on his shots. He's not the most technical, you know? Sure, I'll give you that. But he can be tricky and he can outpoint you. You know, he is good at striking at range and, you know, kind of sneakily outpointing you without you realizing. You know, look at Petr Yan round 1. You know, he gets those little quick pitter-pat shots off that, you know, score points. He's good at that. He's good with his kicks. He's good at being aggressive and pushing the pace. He's always the one on the front foot, keeping you circling on the outside. I think that's what's going to happen here. He's going to immediately, as soon as the fight starts, he's pushing the pace on Evloev. Evloev's going to be circling around the cage. Sterling's going to be throwing his kicks. He's going to be finding his range. I just think Aljamain Sterling is going to be too much for Movsar Evloev. I really do. I think Evloev could have a striking advantage, but honestly, I don't think the striking advantage is going to be that different. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's honestly pretty close. I do lean towards Movsar in the striking, but I think it's a lot closer than people make it out to be. I'm actually going to go Aljamain Sterling. I'm going to go back-to-back underdogs. Aljamain Sterling by decision over Movsar Evloev. I think a lot of people are counting him out, man, and I don't think that's a smart thing to do. Vicente Luque versus Themba Gorimbo. These odds are absolutely not correct because I believe this is accounting for Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz. I want to say, yeah, I think it was Nick Diaz. And now it's Themba Gorimbo. I think Themba Gorimbo's the favorite. Man, am I going to pick another underdog? Because Themba Gorimbo has this thing where he has power. Like he does, he put that guy out in like 30 seconds, whoever it was. Absolute can, by the way. But he put him out. But then he has these fights where he just doesn't throw anything and kind of like clinches and has a boring fight. So it's hard to say because I don't know what Themba Gorimbo is going to do. Who was it that he KO'd? It was Pete Rodriguez. Absolute schmuck. But I don't know what he's going to do. And honestly, oh man, I don't know if he even KOs Vicente Luque. I know he had the thing with Joaquin Buckley and it looked bad, like he's just covering up, not doing anything. But he didn't have a moment in that fight where he got dropped or he got hurt. You know, he just kind of curled up and gave up on the ground. He was never like rocked with a shot. He was never like on the verge of being finished. It was just kind of this weird fight where he just kind of curled up and gave up. You know? And other than the Jeff Neal fight where he got the brain hemorrhage, we don't really have much to go off of. Honestly, I just think Vicente Luque, he's the veteran. He's got the veteran savvy. And he has aura. Okay, he's got aura. I'm not feeling Themba Gorimbo with a ranking next to his name. This is similar to, remember when I predicted the big fat heavyweight dude who fought Marcin Tybura, Jonathan Deniz? I said it doesn't make sense having a number next to Jonathan Deniz's name. I'm getting the same vibes from Themba Gorimbo. I can't imagine a number next to his name. And if he beats Luque, he would have a number next to his name. So based on that logic, I got to go Vicente Luque just based on aura. And plus, I just think he's kind of being counted out. You know, he didn't look... I know it looked bad curling up against Joaquin Buckley, but he didn't get dropped. He didn't get stunned or anything. So, I don't know. Plus, Themba Gorimbo, he's too unpredictable. I can't trust him to go out there and just spark out Vicente Luque. My cat's going crazy. I don't know if you heard that or not. I'll edit it out, probably. Dominick Reyes versus Anthony Smith. I'm going with Dominick Reyes. By the way, I picked Dominick Reyes to beat Justin Jacoby. No one else did that. Just saying, dude. I'm kind of good at predicting Dominick Reyes. He's going to smoke Anthony Smith. And Anthony Smith, Unk does not have it anymore, okay? He's cooked. Dominick Reyes, he's coming off a round 1 KO over a guy who can, like, actually strike somewhat. Dustin Jacoby, I think he's kind of an overrated striker with no chin. But he can strike. He was a glory kickboxer. People will never let you forget that. Oh, Dustin Jacoby was a glory kickboxer. Like, he fought Alex Pereira or something, and he lost. Yeah, no shit, dude. I wonder why, because he can't fight. But Dominick Reyes, he's got power. He's got striking. Anthony Smith, he lost to Roman Dolidze, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but not only did he lose to Roman Dolidze, he got dominated by Roman Dolidze. He didn't have a moment of success in that fight. His only moment of success in recent memory is guillotining Vitor Petrino. He fraud-checked Vitor Petrino. Other than that, what has he done? He beat Ryan Spann. I don't care, dude. That was honestly a while ago at this point, too. It's a completely different fighter. Yeah, Dominick Reyes, I think, is probably just going to beat him. Anthony Smith doesn't have the power to just go out there and chin Dominick Reyes. You got to be an elite striker. Like, look at who's chinning who is beating Dominick Reyes and chinning him. Jan Blachowicz, former champ. Yuri Prochazka, former champ. Ryan Spann. Okay, fair enough. He's got aura, okay? Ryan Spann has aura. So, you know, he's getting KO'd by these guys. And all these guys have power, you know? Yuri's got power. Jan has power. Ryan Spann has power. Anthony Smith, his old ass does not have power. He's got, like, no testosterone left in his body. Look at his build. He's flabby. He's old. Yeah, I don't see how Anthony Smith wins. Maybe he flukes another guillotine, but I just can't see it. I'm going to go Anthony Smith. Also, these odds cannot be right. There's absolutely no way that Anthony Smith is a minus 340 favorite. I'd have to imagine Reyes is the favorite. But if Reyes is somehow the underdog, then I'm picking another underdog. Now we're up on the main card. Nate Landwehr versus Doo Ho Choi. This is going to be a banger fight. Opening up the main card. Got to go Nate Landwehr. I can't pick against Nate Landwehr. He's Nate the Train, you know? Like, I picked Jamal Emmers to beat him. And to be fair, it looked like he was about to beat him. But Nate the Train, like he said, beat my ass and then see what happens, or whatever he said. You just can't count him out. Doo Ho Choi, they both have power. They're both going to come out swinging. It's just a matter of who is going to put who away first. Doo Ho Choi coming off the win over Bill Algeo, where he KO'd him early, I want to say. And Nate Landwehr is coming off the win over Jamal Emmers. Just talked about that. And then before that, his only other loss in recent memory is Dan Ige, who is a ranked fighter. You know, like, I think Nate Landwehr is above the levels of a guy like Doo Ho Choi, who had a long losing streak before beating Bill Algeo, who honestly isn't that impressive if we're being completely honest. I think Nate Landwehr, he's got more grit, he's got more heart. If they both get hit clean on the chin, I trust Nate Landwehr to continue the fight and push forward more than I do Doo Ho Choi. So I'm going to go with Nate Landwehr by round 2 KO over Doo Ho Choi. Now, this fight, I can't believe this is happening. I made a video putting together the worst possible UFC 310 card. Completely unserious. And Kron Gracie was on the main card of that prediction video. Kron Gracie versus somebody for building the worst possible card. And wouldn't you know it, Kron Gracie is on the UFC 310 main card. I predicted it. I'm saying, no one else predicted Kron Gracie to be on the main card of UFC 310 but me. So I manifested this. Unfortunately, I didn't really want to see this, but he has somehow weaseled his way onto a main card. Does he even have a win in the UFC? I'm about to check Tapology. I don't think he has a win in the UFC. He lost to Charles Jourdain. I remember that. Does he have a win? Oh my God, he submitted Alex Caceres almost 6 years ago. Okay, that's cool. Then he lost to Cub Swanson 5 years ago, and then he came back about a year and a half ago and lost to Charles Jourdain. And now he's fighting Bryce Mitchell, who is ranked. He is a ranked fighter. Kron Gracie is coming in here after losing to Charles Jourdain and then Cub Swanson 5 years ago, who were both unranked. And now he's getting a ranked opponent for whatever godforsaken reason. Yeah, I'm picking fucking Bryce Mitchell to beat the shit out of him because Kron Gracie can't fight. Like, I don't know what this is. Like, Bryce Mitchell is a good fighter. He beat Dan Ige. You know, he gave a decent fight to Ilia Topuria, who was, you know, a game wrecker, who was KOing Max Holloway, KOing Volkanovski. He put up a decent fight, all things considered, you know. Beating Edson Barboza, beating Andre Fili. What is Kron Gracie doing? He's submitting Alex Caceres 6 years ago. Like, I can't pick a guy who's going to just butt scoot the entire fight to beat Bryce Mitchell. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing it. Kron Gracie, I hope he gets KO'd. Like, get this out of the sport. It's ruining it. No one wants to watch people like this. I hope Bryce Mitchell flatlines him. What is my cat meowing at, dude? I'm going Bryce Mitchell by round 1 ground and pound TKO. Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov. Get off of my table, cat. Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov. I'll edit that out 100%. This is a rematch we've already seen. I just can't imagine that. I mean, I don't know. He looked good against Pavlovich, outstriking him at range. Is he going to outstrike Gane at range? Probably not. Like, Ciryl Gane can strike. That's all he can do. He can't grapple. Maybe he implements some grappling. Maybe he's able to get Ciryl Gane down and submit him or just control him. But it's a 3-round fight. I'm going to go Ciryl Gane to outstrike Alexander Volkov on the feet, just like he did in the first fight, and win a decision probably because Gane doesn't have that much power. I hope Volkov wins. I think he's more fun to watch than Ciryl Gane, honestly. In my personal opinion, he's a more well-rounded fighter. But I think Ciryl Gane by decision is probably the most likely outcome. That's just how I feel. Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Gary in the co-main event. Jesus Christ, my cat is going crazy. Shavkat Rakhmonov is a giant favorite over Ian Gary. He's a minus 360 favorite. Shavkat Rakhmonov 18-0. Ian Gary 15-0. Shavkat Rakhmonov 18 finishes. He's finished all of his wins. You know, he's looking unstoppable. He's looking like the boogeyman of the division. I'm picking Ian Gary to beat him. I just have this vision, you know. I can see it happening. Shavkat Rakhmonov, right? He is dangerous. He is gritty. He is going to fight. And it really does come down to, is Ian Gary really going to survive 5 rounds with Shavkat Rakhmonov, who is dangerous for all 5 rounds? I think he is, man. I think he is. I think Ian Gary is gonna just outpoint him on the feet. I think he's better on the feet. He's a better striker than Shavkat. I really do believe that. People are gonna point at the Michael Venom Page fight. Oh, he turned Ian Gary to a wrestler. Yeah, he would probably turn Shavkat to a wrestler. I'm just saying, like, Michael Page, he's one of those guys that no one looks good against on the feet, right? He's quick, he's wacky, he's unorthodox. It's hard to outpoint Michael Venom Page, okay? You're not going to look good on the feet. Ian Gary has good defensive grappling. He's going to be quicker on the feet. Shavkat Rakhmonov doesn't have the best of head movement. It just comes down to, do I trust Ian Gary to stuff the takedowns of Shavkat and to not get controlled, not get submitted if he does get taken down? And I think I do, man. I think Ian Gary's really underrated. I have this vision that he just outpoints Shavkat. I could see Shavkat, you know, his face is bloodied and bruised. Ian Gary's outstriking him at range. I don't know, man. I can see it happening. I can see it. Shavkat's head movement isn't all there. I'm going to go Ian Gary. This could backfire. Shavkat finishes him in round 1. Who knows? But I'm going to trust my gut. I'm going to go Ian Machado Gary over Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm going to say by decision. I'm going to say he wins 49-46 over Shavkat. Surprises everyone. Everyone finally gets a little bit of respect for him. And he earns his next title shot. Or he earns his title shot in his next fight, I should say. So Ian Gary, 49-46. That's going to be my pick for the co-main event. And now for the main event, Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Asakura. I'm going with Alexandre Pantoja because he's fighting Kai Asakura. With all due respect, of course, Kai Asakura is coming from Ryzen. He was the Ryzen champ. He's dangerous on the feet. But I'm just gonna say it, man. Like, that's not UFC competition. Like, Pantoja's fighting Steve Erceg, who's very good UFC level. Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno, Alex Perez. You know, these are guys that are UFC level, top UFC level. Kai Asakura is coming over, never fought in the UFC before, immediately shoved into a main card, or main event, I should say, shoved into the main event spotlight against a champion in Alexandre Pantoja. I think it's just a big step up in competition, and I don't think Asakura is ready for it. I do think he's good. I do think he would be a top 10 flyweight, maybe top 5 flyweight, but I don't think he's going to come in here and beat Pantoja in his debut. I just don't see it happening. I'm going to go Pantoja by decision with his wrestling and grappling. He hasn't gotten too many finishes as of late. His last finish was Alex Perez over 2 years ago. You know, he hasn't gotten that many finishes. He's kind of slowing down as he gets older, but I do think his grappling is too good. His grappling is just too good. Like his scrambles are too good. I don't see Kai Asakura KOing him early. Maybe he does catch him and KO him. Who knows? Anything's possible. But, like, I think the most likely outcome, I don't predict off of, 1 in a million chance that Kai Asakura catches him and KOs him. I think the most likely outcome is a Pantoja grappling decision, probably 49-46, 50-45, something like that. I think Pantoja is going to be the pick. I think it should be the pick. I think it's the rightful pick. But anything can happen in MMA. Kai Asakura could go out there and win. Who knows? But Alexandre Pantoja is going to be my pick for the main event of UFC 310. But let me know what you guys think. Who do you got in the main event, Pantoja or Asakura? Are you rocking with Rakhmonov, Ian Gary, Gane, Volkov? Let me know who you got in the comments below. I'm always interested to see what you guys think about all these fights, and I will see you next time.